Drink beer. Think beer. You're listening to Brew Bloods.
Fermentation and civilization are inseparable. That from American poet John Ciardi? I guess that's how you say his name. We'll just roll with that.
However you want to say it, man.
Welcome to episode 68 of Brew Bloods.
You totally made it up, so however you want to say it,
Of course.
Fine.
I make all the names and all the quotes.
So, yeah, it's whatever pronunciation you want.
It is. It's amazing that I don't have a better job writing fiction, because apparently I do all this.
Well, just one-off quotes. I don't know how much money that's really going to make you. The book of fake quotes, I don't know what that would get you on the street.
You think I could turn my talents to writing like John Grisham-esque fiction if I can come up with some intelligent quote like that week after week?
Yeah, but you're very limited. You can only do like one line, and then you're done. You're done for another week.
Maybe I'll make a book of quotes then. Famous quotes that never existed.
You could. I don't think that's going to make you much, but you could.
But just about beer, because that's the only where my talents lie, is fake quotes about beer and alcohol in general.
Right, you couldn't have fake life quotes or anything.
Of course not. God forbid I extend my talents elsewhere.
Well, it has to be something that you can consume within the confines of this chair, so you don't have to leave.
It's true.
So maybe you can branch out a little bit more now that things can get delivered to you.
The more I can have my skin grafted, automatically grow into the chair, the better.
So you absolutely never, as your legs continue to shrink and your skin continues to absorb the chair.
Yes.
It's a really weird scene.
And I already had 3 colostomy bags put in last week.
And yet another bank of monitors added.
Yeah, like 6 banks of monitors, yeah.
It's going to be a fully encompassing bank of monitors here eventually.
And I've already trained the dogs to pull me around like a sled team.
Absolutely.
In my desk chair here.
Yeah, if you do try to get up, I guess at this point you might bleed out, so...
It's true.
You'll never leave again.
Well, yeah, because if I get up, I'm going to rip the skin. It's already grafted into the chair. It's going to rip my butt off.
And your gelatin legs, I mean, they couldn't take you very far anyway at this point.
I'm going to die from a blood hemorrhage just from my butt skin getting ripped off.
Sure.
And I've already trained the cat to empty my colostomy bag, so...
That's a very talented cat.
He is.
Because that thing gets heavy, too.
It does. Oh,
He's
so
pretty
heavy.
strong.
Yeah. He's like the Mighty Mouse of cats. I also gave him little robotic arms to help him along the way, so...
Well, that's good.
Again, another talent I could have monopolized, but, robotic arms for cats, but no.
Nah.
I chose to just poop in my chair.
You made one set and then went right to growing into your office chair, making that your lifetime goal.
Well, speaking of growing into office chairs, let's talk about a recent editorial. It comes from beerhealer.com, and this is, the guy doesn't give his full author name here. I think it's a good article to talk about, or a good editorial.
It sounds like a really fake website.
It might be, but the writer's name is Chris Lukey, I think. That's his username is Chris Lukey, so I'm assuming that's his real name.
It's not Loki?
It's not Loki.
Oh, okay. That would be more interesting.
But it's Chris Lukey. I'm there. Lukai? I don't really know.
Like he's a Lukey Lou?
A Lukey Lou?
Yeah.
Maybe his name, maybe he's really Luigi. Maybe it's pronounced Luigi. Chris Luigi. Or lasagna.
Yeah, why are they the Mario brothers if one's named Mario?
Well, it's Mario. You don't know this?
It's Mario and then Luigi Mario?
Yeah.
That's a terrible name, Mario.
Well, you say that, but it is. But I also...
I say that because it is.
You act like it's an uncommon thing to have the same first and last name. I worked back in 1998, back in, before the new millennium, back before we had the whole date issue.
Sure.
I worked with a guy named Bob Roberts. And he wasn't just named after the Tim Robbins movie, Bob Roberts.
Okay.
His name was Robert Roberts.
Which, didn't that movie come out like in 1999?
That's a good question. Nobody could ever know that.
Or maybe it was like 94, so maybe it was like 3.
Maybe the movie was named after him.
That's true.
But his
this
name...
generic programmer in Dallas, we're going to go ahead and make a movie after him.
But his name was Bob Roberts, and his full name was Robert Roberts. So it's not... it's still uncommon, I guess.
Maybe you should change your name to Mark Marks.
But it's not unfeasible, untenable, that it could be Mario, and Luigi Mario, or maybe it's Mario, since some people say Mario. Which I never understood. Haven't we all established it's Mario, not Mario?
It's well established it's Mario.
After all, we have Mario Batali. That's pretty common with his cargo pants and general wasted look, and his fishing vests that he wears all the time. True. It's Mario Batali's pretty famous. I think we can just go with that being the official, not Mario.
Yeah, and Mario is not a correct pronunciation.
Ignore
like it's not potato. It's never potato.
Well, you have to ignore... I mean, I realize in English we're supposed to say if there's a vowel after a consonant, the previous vowel is pronounced with the longer sound.
Right.
So it should be Mario. But guess what, people? It's wrong. It's always going to be Mario.
Right.
Just like it's always going to be GIF, not GIF. It's not... I don't care what the creator says. It's GIF. It's always going to be GIF.
It's always tomato and it's always potato.
That's right.
It's never tomato or potato.
That's right.
Never.
But it is Clamato.
That's true. It is Clamato.
It's not Clamato, it's Clamato.
Should be Clamato, but it is Clamato.
It should be, but these are the inconsistent rules of our language.
Just deal with it.
Just deal with it.
Don't try to be elitist and try to go to your perfect syntax and all that. Just, say this is what it is.
Stop trying to be a Mr. Smarty Pants.
Right, exactly.
It's Mario, or Mario, I should say. Luigi Mario. It's not Luigi.
Right, it's not Luigi.
It's GIF, not GIF. It's Clamato, not Clamato. Just get it. Do you understand?
GIF. Yeah.
Do I have to issue the Chris Tucker line, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
You don't have to, but I get why you did.
I think I just did.
Yeah, you didn't have to do it, though.
I didn't have to, but I did.
Because you asked if you had to, and I'm saying you didn't have to.
But do I have to now? Do I have to issue it again?
No. You don't ever have to.
There was a Rush Hour 2 and 3. I can issue it 2 more times.
If you want to, that's fine, but you don't have to.
All right, maybe we'll save that for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Let's save that for a more exciting part of the show.
Let's do that for a shorty.
But for now, let's talk about Chris Lukey Lokai's Mario article
Chris
on
Lukey Lou.
beerhealer.com. Do we have double standards with craft beer? I found this on Reddit, and there was a lot of discussion about it. I chose not to read any comments because the first rule of the internet is do not read the comments.
Oh, yeah. On no story should you read comments.
But I think Chris Lukey Lukai Mario poses a good question. And his, let me just read, I'll read a quote from the article. He says, quote...
You don't have Chris Lukey Lou's audio?
I don't, unfortunately. There's no audio.
No. All right.
He says, quote, I don't think the double IPA drinker will necessarily drink a VB, Tooheys New Miller, or Bud Light. But I bet you a double IPA drinker would gladly drink it in the comfort of his Nike free runs, wearing his Ray-Ban Wayfarers, and tapping away on his iPhone or Samsung Galaxy. Where is the change in mindset occurring with smaller versus bigger brands? Why do we choose fair trade coffee, organic carrots, or visit farmers markets instead of chain grocery stores, but then choose mass-produced fashion lines to clothe ourselves? Do we care more about what we put in our bodies over what we put on our bodies, or are we hypocrites? Is it okay to only drink micro beers but wear macro clothing?
Well, see, I take issue with his point on that whole article, at least from my perspective. We've had these discussions many a times on here about macros and their role in the beer industry. And I think a lot of it comes from I'm more anti-bad tasting beer than I am giant macro companies per se. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of a macro, but I'm not choosing a double IPA exclusively because it is handcrafted and small. I'm also doing it because I think it tastes better. I think that's the same reason people get an Apple iPhone or they go with a Samsung Galaxy because they think it's better than the other one. It's not because, they're not necessarily anti the other company. Sometimes they are. I mean, that's kind of one of those divisive issues, I guess. But, if there was a handcrafted cell phone, I don't think that there'd be a hipster group that would definitely go for that just because it's the small artisan phone.
And there are those people. There are small batch free range phones out there.
Sure.
They're very hard to get hold of. And
yeah, exactly.
They're always Android, of course. But yeah, those are out there. I think what you're speaking to here is what this guy's missing is the word quality.
Right.
And I think there's really two factors here. I think the first is quality, right? I think the reason people pick Ray-Bans, the reason people pick Nike or Adidas,
sure.
The reason people pick, back in the day, like Jabot's or Abercrombie & Fitch or even Levi's, going back even further.
Sure.
Is because it's quality. It's because generally speaking, I think the reason people pick these products is because of these companies have maintained a lasting quality, and they continue to pursue the business of sustained quality. You know that your Nike shoes are going to provide, in theory, a certain level of support.
Right.
You know they're going to last us. They're not going to fall off your feet. They're not paper shoes. They're not going to, and the next time a drop of rain, they're not just going to collapse on your feet, I think, to me, that's the discerning factor here is quality, and what we see, the difference between somebody like Nike, or most recently Under Armour is an up-and-comer for sure, as far as trying to take over the shoe game,
right?
For instance, I think there's a factor of quality there, as opposed to macro beers, which pursue oftentimes anything but quality. They try to reduce the quality. Like, they may have started out with a great recipe that was not watered down swill, but they ultimately came to that in the ever-increasing desire for profit only.
Right.
Only with the goal of profit in mind, not with keeping quality, but also pursuing profit. And I think that's the discerning factor here, is quality. And on top of that, of course, as we said, the macro brewers also are just trying to shut down the quality producers left and right, where I'm not privy. Yes, I've watched Project One Way, but I'm not privy to the fashion industry, so I don't think that Nike and others are trying to keep down the little fashion guy.
Sure. And, you know, you can buy Kroger brand soda or you can buy Coca-Cola. And that's, again, a quality issue. It's not because, oh, well, Coca-Cola is the little guy that's handcrafted. It's because you know that that's going to be the recipe that has been that certain quality, and you're going to get that taste there. The one in Kroger, you don't know how long that's been sitting there and what kind of recipe they ripped that from, what kind of homebrew made that soda. And you don't know what the hell's going to be in there.
Yeah.
But you know what's going to be in Coke. I think, like you said,
You say that, but there was a time when Coca-Cola was made with cocaine, and I think they watered down the recipe from that, and that's unfortunate.
Well, since we've been alive, since they did not do that when we've been alive.
Unfortunately. I think we need to go back to the good old days when there was cocaine in Coca-Cola.
I need to put cocaine in more of things in general.
Yeah, I would like to see a nice cocaine IPA.
Sure, why not?
Maybe a bourbon barrel aged cocaine porter.
And you know what? If Budweiser makes it, we'll try it.
Of course, absolutely. Anything with cocaine, we're going to try.
It doesn't matter, yeah. It could be a regular Bud Light with cocaine, and we'd be all over it.
And we're going to butt chug it, for sure.
Oh, yeah, of course. You don't want to taste that.
No, of course not.
You just want to get the effects of it.
Yeah, we're going to have a beer hat, 2 beers, 2 Bud Light cocaines in our beer hat. We're going to have the pipes, the beer pipes, funneled directly into our anuses.
Yeah, as you do.
I might get a new anus installed just for an additional pipe.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I mean, you have to mainline that stuff.
As you do.
And
you would.
at the same time, I will pour a line of cocaine down my crack, and you will sniff that out of my crack while I'm also inhaling it through a beer hat pipe. That's just the way it goes with cocaine. Yeah. Once you start, you can't stop.
But this is really less about cocaine and more about quality of products.
Yes,
and I think more about beer.
I think the question he's asking is good. I
do think there's a sect of this craft beer group that is what he's talking about, but I don't think that's not the angle I come from it, and it doesn't sound like that's the angle you come at it either. It's not just because it's local and artisan and handcrafted. That hipster movement is just to be frank, like kind of an annoying extra add-on to the whole group. Yeah, and it's definitely there.
I come to it from an angle of quality, and I think that's where it is that you have certain clothing brands that are reparable.
You agree there's hipsters involved in this, right?
Of course. Yeah, there are. I'm sure there's, there's plenty of people out there who probably drink only craft beer and probably make their own small batch clothing with,
Sure.
That's probably woven from the hair of a llama that they have in the front yard.
If you want to live that way, fine.
Yeah.
But that's
what you want to do. There are people out there, but I think in the end it just comes down to quality. And what we see with macro beer is a lack of quality and a pursuing further, like, degrading the quality that exists, while these other brands continue to try to pursue quality, make it even better.
Yes, that is very true.
I mean, you think about a shoe like New Balance, which, is big with runners and is nothing but. It's the biggest brand, I think, from what I understand, for runners out there, or certain hiking shoes, or whatever. Like, they just continue to try to make themselves better, whereas we don't see that with macros. So I think that's the long and short. I think the operative letter is Q, and it stands for quality.
Quality, yes. I would agree.
So we are right on the heels of Oktoberfest. So we thought we would get started a little early with our Oktoberfest surprise. We're going to take on a brewery we haven't had before, and it's a brewery from Germany, and I know Dustin's not going to like it because it's a lager.
Uh-oh. Yes, it's already terrible.
But it's part of our job to pursue quality, or to pursue...
Don't just throw me out there by myself in the hate lager category.
I'm not doing that. But it's our job. We have to sample all beers.
You're a hate lager guy, too.
I do, but I feel like we have to peruse the zoo of craft beer out there, or beers in general.
Sure.
And that means once in a while we're going to have to run up against a lager. So today we're going to talk about Warsteiner Brewery out of Germany and their Oktoberfest Special Edition right after this. If for some reason you've never heard of Oktoberfest, it's the world's largest beer festival and traveling fun fair, with more than 6 to 7 million people attending from around the world each year across 16 days. The origins of Oktoberfest go back to October 12, 1810, when Crown Prince Ludwig of Bavaria married Prince Teresa of Saxony-Hildburghausen, and the citizens of Munich were invited to attend the wedding festivities on the fields in front of the city gates, where about 40,000 people showed up. A major in the Bavarian National Guard suggested that they hold horse races on October 17 to end the giant party. And when the horse races were repeated a year later, Oktoberfest was born. Year after year, the festival continued to grow and grow, with more attractions added each year, such as an agricultural show in 1811, and carousels, bowling alleys, and dance floors following in subsequent years. In 1819, the Munich City Fathers decided to make it an annual event, though eventually the dates were moved to the end of September because the days are longer and warmer. While Oktoberfest is an annual tradition, there have been momentary interruptions when Oktoberfest was not held. In 1813, when Bavaria was tied up in the Napoleonic Wars, in 1854, when 3,000 Munich citizens died of cholera, and again in 1873, in 1866, when Bavaria was involved in the Austro-Prussian War, and again in 1870, when Bavaria was involved in the Franco-Prussian War. Beer has, of course, been a mainstay at the event from the beginning, but initially they were confined to small beer stands. As the popularity grew, so did the number of beer stands. In 1896, the first beer tents and halls were established with the backing of the major breweries. The modern-day Oktoberfest bears many similarities to the early days, though it's considerably larger in scope. The agricultural show only appears every 3 years now, and horse racing was done away with several decades ago, but you can still find dancing, carousels, bands, and of course, plenty of beer. Though today's Oktoberfest beers are lighter than the original Marzen style. Today, 6 major German brewers back 7 large beer halls that hold 94,000 people. Inside, you can find live music, food, and dancing. Over 1 million gallons of beer and 12,000 gallons of wine are consumed each year inside these tents. Much like Ireland's St. Patrick's Day, the tradition of Oktoberfest has spread from its roots in Bavaria and is celebrated as a holiday around the world, though usually only on 1 to 3 days in most cities. Cincinnati, Ohio in the United States claims to hold the largest authentic Oktoberfest in the US, which attracts about 500,000 people each year. So, if you can't buy a ticket to Germany, throw on your dirndl and a tuba and head to your local Oktoberfest. If there's no Oktoberfest in your area, just throw on your dirndl for fun and head to your local pub. So, last year we had a face-off on our last Oktoberfest. We're not doing that this time. We're taking on one beer, because sometimes that's all it deserves. So we're taking on a brewery from Germany called Warsteiner.
That's all what deserves? Oktoberfest or the beer? Or?
Don't try to make sense of my statements.
Oh, okay.
I usually don't know what's coming out of my mouth until I actually say it, and it usually doesn't make sense. That's okay.
True. That definitely didn't.
But we're talking about a brewery today.
Like Satellite Beer Buddies.
Exactly. That doesn't make any sense. But we're talking about an old brewery today out of Germany. They still follow Reinheitsgebot. And they were founded in the 1700s, and they don't make that many beers, but they do make a few, and some of them have finally made their way stateside. And I found this, the reason I picked this beer is because it was under the seasonal releases at our local Total Wine.
You know, specialty mark, it has to be something that's small and artisan.
That's right. I don't know if this is that small and artisan, but it's a special edition.
It's small and artisan to him. You know, if he can only get a hold of one, he'll get it.
That's right. But we got a hold of 2, so here we are.
Right, true.
So the Warsteiner doesn't make a lot of beers. They seem to specialize, as no surprise, in lagers, much like we've got here.
Although they say they're a premium Pilsner brand.
Pilsner brand, whatever.
So they tend to focus on Pilsner. They do a Dunkel as well, which isn't a big shock. If you want to just go through some of their beers, they're not exactly rated that great. This may be some of the worst rated beers that we've ever come across. And that's including the one that we're going to look at today, but we'll get to that in a minute. Their top-rated beer that is in their most reviewed beers. So it's anything that has 100 reviews or more is what I pulled, not something that just has like 2 or 3, because that doesn't really have enough to aggregate. The top-rated beer is a 41, and that is their Dunkel. It actually gets a 41 and for the beer and a 64 in style, so I guess people don't think it follows the Dunkel style very well. But, yeah, that's as high as it goes. They have one... They're low alcohol, premium fresh, which sounds so Trumpian. That one only gets a score of 1 and 27 overall.
They're bringing drugs.
You know, their most rated beer is their premium Pilsner, which they are a Pilsner brand leader, according to their own description. And that only gets a 17. Their Dunkel, like I said, gets a 41. Their Oktoberfest, we'll get to in a minute. They have an herb Pilsner, which sounds kind of interesting, perhaps, but that only gets a 16. They have an older Oktoberfest that gets a 34. And they have a premium Radler which they did several different versions of this, looking at their site, grapefruit, mango, all kinds of stuff. That one gets a nice, hefty score of 5.
So, not so much looking forward to this beer. And we're already not lager fans, but the horizon is not very bright, put it that way.
Pilsner are not bright. Pilsner I like a little bit better than lager, because like I've said before, if I had to drink one of the main ones, I would go with Miller Lite that is a Pilsner. But still, based on these ratings, I don't know. My hopes are not very high.
So the Oktoberfest Special Edition, which was previously known, you may see it sometimes as the Oktoberfest Premium, which was its previous name, but
Premium.
It used to have come in at a 5.0 ABV. The new one comes in at a 5.9, has no IBU. Woo. And the official description is that it is a truly German import brewed according to the German purity law, as are all Warsteiner beers, in limited quantities, especially for Oktoberfest celebrations. The special edition has a well-balanced, mild, and smooth taste with a uniquely soft, hoppy aftertaste, which there's no IBU, but whatever, and 5.9% alcohol. They don't say whatever. That was my injection.
Right.
So
that would be weird.
So a bit of Germany with you to your next Oktoberfest celebration. So bring a bit. Reading is hard. And bring a Warsteiner Oktoberfest Special Edition. Ratings overall, this one gets Beer Advocate 77 out of 100. Rate Beer gives it 32 overall, 44 in style. And Untapped comes in maybe about in line with Beer Advocate at 3.65 out of 5 with 3,042 unique reviews.
Yeah, so maybe the Rate Beer people are rating it too harsh, but I do trust Rate Beer more for international beers because they have more exposure.
Yeah.
Or they tend to. Not that Untapped doesn't as well, but just out of Beer Advocate and Rate Beer, I feel like Beer Advocate's more domestic.
Yeah, I agree. They don't go as international, or they don't play as international as well as Rate Beer does, but yeah, agreed. So, after we find out about the history of Warsteiner, we'll come back with our judgments.
The Warsteiner Brewery was founded in 1753 and today is one of the largest privately held breweries in Germany. The brewery is family-owned and has its headquarters in the Saarland region in the German state of Westphalia. Today, the company is managed by the 9th generation of the Kramer family, Catherine Kramer. The brewery has risen from its humble roots as a small regional craft brewer to now attracting roughly 50,000 visitors annually to its brewery tours and is now available in more than 60 countries worldwide. Warsteiner's most notable beers include a German Pilsner at 4.8%, a Dunkel at 4.9%, and an Oktoberfest brew coming in at 5.9% ABV.
So, the BJCP for an Oktoberfest lager. The aroma should be a rich German malt aroma of Vienna and or Munich malt.
Why do you have a sudden effeminate NPR voice?
The appearance should be dark gold to deep orange or red color. Bright clarity with solid off-white foam stand. I think they mean head. Flavor, initial malty sweetness, but finishes moderately dry. The mouthfeel should be medium body with a creamy texture and medium carbonation.
Were you about to investigate a murderer?
Is smooth, clean, and rather rich with a depth of malt character. And the commercial examples are the Polliner Oktoberfest, the Hofbrau Oktoberfest, the Victory Fest beer, the Spaten Oktoberfest, the Capital Oktoberfest, the Gordon Biersch Marzen, the Goose Island Oktoberfest, and the Samuel Adams Oktoberfest. Not a lot of variation in name there. Somehow they're always somewhat centered around the word fest.
And that one's even a bit unusual in its late hopping.
That's right. A little bit of controversy there.
Now, we did have the Sam Adams Oktoberfest last year.
We did, but we didn't talk about it.
It did not win.
Did we talk about it on the show?
Yeah, we did. It was part of the face-off. It was Franconia.
Everything you love about fall.
Franconia versus Sam Adams.
Okay. All right, you're right. It's part of the face-off. I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Memory short. Sitting here in my jelly butt,
so
bleeding anus, 3 colostomy bags. Things just kind of escape.
You got other things to worry about.
Yeah, I got a lot
like
of
clotting.
Things. Yeah, clotting. Yeah, hemorrhaging.
But yeah, the Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Even though it lost, I think we thought it was all right, as I remember. That was a year ago, and that was had a lot of alcohol since then.
It was episode 23, and I have no idea what happened back then.
Probably killed those brain cells.
Probably.
I do know that Franconia did win, but I remember that being all right. I have had the Gordon Biersch Marzen. Yeah, I have had that. But other than that, I don't think I've had any of these other ones.
Yeah, I'm not a big... Oktoberfest beers are okay, but that's about generally the label I would put to them as okay.
General label?
General label, that's not what I said. I said general label I would put to them as that okay.
You did it with lazy tongue.
Perhaps.
Might have had the Goose Island Oktoberfest when we were in Vegas, and they said, please have our specialty Oktoberfest beer.
Oh,
and that's
right.
what it was. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Yeah, that's right. We were at that...
PBR rodeo place.
And they claimed to have an entire Oktoberfest celebration of which they had one Oktoberfest beer.
Right. And it was either Goose Island or Sierra Nevada. It was somebody huge.
Yeah, but they had one beer on
Right.
their Oktoberfest
Under
menu.
their celebration.
Yes. Not much of a celebration when you only have the one beer.
Right.
So, let's get to this Warsteiner Oktoberfest Special Premium Edition Oktoberfest Lager. Yes, we do.
Just skip it.
No.
Okay.
We have a duty to our beer P1s here, our Brew Blast P1s, to deliver a rating, to deliver our judgments, as I just said.
I know. Very aggressive way to phrase it.
Very aggressive. Now, aroma.
All right.
Yep, that's a lager.
Wow, that smells like a straight-up American lager.
I don't know if that's...
I know this is German, but it smells like a straight-up American lager.
I don't know if this is yeast strain 1 or yeast strain 2 of the lager yeasts, but it's a lager.
Man, you pour a nice can of America into a stein, you're going to get this smell.
Yeah, it's not at all different from just about every other lager I've ever had.
Now, I'm drinking out of a stein. Mark's drinking out of a dimpled mug.
Specifically a Cheers dimple mug.
So we are, within the proper glassware to give this beer the best shot it has, which it looks like it needs everything it can.
What do you think of the bottle? The Warsteiner bottle? To me, I think the reason I picked this beer is probably because the label actually stood out.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool bottle. I like it.
It's got a blue and white checkered field. It's got a silver Oktoberfest label on it and the prominent Warsteiner logo on top of that. It's very, no surprise, very European beer looking.
Absolutely.
Very much holding with tradition, but I think that really the blue and silver really stood out, and that's probably why I ended up picking this beer, because it just jumped out at me. I don't know anything about the brewery. I don't know anything about the beer.
Yeah, the blue and white background and the silver pop. Yeah, it's good.
It's very standard Euro beer,
Right.
but I think it's, for that set, I think it stands out.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I'll tell you, just kind of glazing over the European beer section of our local craft beer store.
You glaze over?
I tend to glaze over, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, mine just tend to like sweep past.
It's like,
because I can't really tell any of those beers apart, or very few of them.
Right.
So yeah, I tend to glaze over that section and just get to something else.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure there's some good beers in there.
Yeah,
probably even some great beers.
I know exactly what you mean.
But nothing often catches the eye, so...
Yeah.
This just happened to be in the seasonal section of Total Wine in Dallas. So
Is that within Texas?
it is within Texas.
In the U.S.?
In the state of Dallas. Or the state of Dallas. The city of Dallas and the state of Texas. In the country of the United States.
The city of
In the
justice.
northern hemisphere.
Oh, okay.
So appearance-wise, it's a light amber golden color.
Much like an American lager.
Much like. A lot of clean bubbles on about halfway up the glass on mine.
Definitely filtered.
Definitely filtered. Okay head retention for a dimple glass.
Sure. Yeah, the head retention's okay in the stein, too.
And it is pure white. Much like the Hitler Youth and the 40s. Pure white.
Much like the people that Mark likes to associate himself with.
Let's not talk about that.
Sorry, that's for off air. But yeah, I mean, it's almost crystal clear. Other than the carbonation, like you say. That's the only thing that obscures anything.
Nothing really stands out there as well.
Right.
Now, taste. Yep, that's a lager. Very malty up front. Very light in mouthfeel.
Yeah.
And very light in body as well. And definitely, the flavor blooms in your mouth for sure. Which is, I think, actually a credit to this beer.
Sure.
If you enjoy the lager flavor, I think it does a nice job of filling your mouth up. Just exploding in your mouth.
Now, I'm not getting any of the hoppy notes that they talked about.
No.
So I understand why it has a 0 or no IBU listed, because it probably has a 0 IBU.
Yeah, I don't...
Or, like a 2 or something.
They say a soft, hoppy aftertaste, and I don't
even get a gentle nudge.
Soft might as well just be non-existent.
I don't even get a nudge of hoppy
Not
aftertaste.
a nudge. Not a feather's touch. Not an angel's kiss.
Yeah.
Not a popcorn fart.
Not an angel breath of hop.
Not a popcorn fart of hops here. There's no hops. Trust in the new IBU.
Do you get any candy caramel or candy corn taste up front? That's what some people have been saying.
No, that's ridiculous.
I don't get that at all.
It tastes like lager.
Yeah, it tastes like lager with maybe just a hint of maybe something else in there, like a little bit of sweetness, but it's not very prominent at all. I definitely get the malty, but I get a little bit of sweet in there, just a hint, but it's very faint. There's a hint of that, unlike the hint of hops.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very malty up front. But contrasting, I think, nicely with the lighter body, I think it kind of actually works a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no hops at all. There's no soft hop taste there at all. There's just, ignore that part of the description.
Yeah. But the one that lasts is that hardcore lager taste. That's definitely there. That's in the midst of it, and that's the prominent feature to me.
Yeah, there's nothing really stand out about this beer. And I think that's probably the operative word, is it just doesn't stand out.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to be said, because there's not a whole lot to note. It has two tastes. It has standard lager taste, then it has the lightest of light touch sweet taste, and that's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't think we can go much further with this. I mean, this review is pretty shallow.
Yeah.
I don't think we can go very much further with this. So let's just get to ratings, judgments, reviews.
Judgments.
Judgments. Dustin, why don't you go first?
Well, I didn't really have much. I didn't have very high hopes for this beer going into it, and it achieved my not very high hopes. It's a very bland Oktoberfest. Like we said, we had the Sam Adams Oktoberfest. We had the McKinney or Franconia Oktoberfest. We've had other Oktoberfest in general, and I think a lot of those do a decent job of having a little bit more sweet to it, something a little more notable to it. They may all have kind of a lager Pilsner base, but they tend to have a twist enough on there where I can actually drink those and be pretty satisfied. All those that we listed there. Even though I know the Sam Adams lost to the Franconia last year, it's still, if it's on tap somewhere, I can drink a Sam Adams Oktoberfest if it's that versus your standard macros. If this was the other option, I have to say I'd probably just list it in the same group as the other options and probably say, let's go for a mojito or something. Because this is just not, like you said, there's not anything notable about it. And the notable part, well, there's one thing notable about it, and that is that it is a standard tasting lager. That's the only note that you get. That's the only prominent thing you get. It smells like a lager, tastes like a lager. Looks like a lager. It's definitely got the lager part down. And that's really all I can say for it. I'm sure that their regular lager doesn't have that ghost whisper of sweet taste that this one does. But that's all I can say for it that differentiates it from just a standard lager. For that, within the category, I have to say it's failed me amongst other Oktoberfest beers. I've liked several other Oktoberfest beers better. So I'm going to have to give this one a 2.25.
Damn, that's a low rating.
Yep.
So the name for this beer is definitely Clone Wars, because it's just that. It's just a clone of, to me, of just about every lager we've ever had. It's somewhere in the middle of the pack. It's not terrible, but it's not good. It's not like, if you're comparing it to Star Wars, the Clone Wars, it's not Jango Fett, where he was the top of the pops. It's just like one of those run-of-the-mill clones in the middle. It doesn't stand out. It's distinctly a lager in every way, shape, or form. If you enjoy lagers, you'll probably like this. I think to its credit, it's if you enjoy the malt character, I think it works in its favor. I think it's really light, which is nice. Probably good for a hot day in a tent sitting at Oktoberfest. I think that probably works.
But remember, this is an Oktoberfest beer, not just a straight up lager.
Oh, I know, I understand, and I'm just saying overall, it just doesn't. It in no way distinguishes itself to me. There's nothing stand out here. There's no, and to its discredit, they say there's a soft hoppy touch there that doesn't exist. There's almost like a negative hop touch there, if I had to say anything. I don't know what the inverse of hoppy is, but not hoppy, whatever that is, that unquantifiable thing, that's what it is.
Sure.
There's nothing special about this beer. I appreciate the fact that they wanted to subscribe to Reinheitsgebot and the purity standards, but I think they're in many ways outdated, and they're getting left behind because of that in these flavors. I think if they would abandon those traditions, but they probably never will, they could probably come up with something more inventive for an Oktoberfest, but it's probably never going to happen. So I would never, ever reach for this beer again because it's not appealing. Maybe if it was an alternative to Bud Light or Miller Lite or something like that, I might, because it's better than that. But it's just kind of meh. I mean, it's meh. It's what it is.
That's a very
it's
good
meh.
description.
It's just meh. It's vanilla, very average. So,
but I'd rather drink vanilla.
Oh yeah, total bottle. Yeah,
I just drink vanilla extract
straight vanilla extract. Yeah,
absolutely.
So I'm right there with you. I can't give this any more than a 2.25 out of 5, giving us a final score of 2.25 out of 5. No surprise.
That was some quick math you did in your head.
I'm a genius. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for all your support. If you enjoy us for some weird reason, you can go listen to our other podcast, The Break Room. You can find it at breakroom.tv. I'll link to listen to that show. It's a little,
That's right.
It's a lot more vulgar, for sure.
I'd say more than a little.
A lot more esoteric and more about snacks and pop culture. So if you enjoy us, you might enjoy that show.
Maybe.
Thanks to everybody who listens to the show. If you would do us a favor, leave us a review on iTunes to help other people find this show. Check us out on social networks, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you have any feedback, you can email us at brewbloodshow@gmail.com, or you can call us at 469-573-BEER. That's 469-573-2337. We'll catch you guys next week for episode 69
Hey now.
of Brew Bloods. For Dustin, I'm Mark.
For Mark, I'm Dustin. Probst.
Probes.
And close it, and close